Sean McCartney says that Arthur Maulet is gone. We need another slot cornerback for depth. Then he also adds that there are many free agents that people say would be a good fit for the Steelers, but is there anyone that Moats and Deke are interested in free agency? So we're going to answer the big free agency question probably on the back end of the TG interview or when he calls in. But in terms of Maulet being gone, yeah, let's definitely react to that. For those that don't know, Arthur Maulet, my Arthur M partner, was released today. Reports were that he asked to be released, and the team granted that.
Saved us like $2 million in cap almost. I think it was 1.9.
No, I thought it was less than that, bro. I thought it was like
I saw some on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw something where it was like 857 or something like that we actually are gonna like save after the fact, like once everything is like completed.
Might have saw some fake news.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, we're talking about $1 million difference one way or the other. You know what I mean? So, but with that though, it was interesting, man, because he was one of the dudes that obviously started for us the past, year and a half, 2 years almost. Yeah, because he came in 21, so excuse me, past 2 years. He's been heavily in the rotation, heavily a part of the defense. Even though we had brought in Shandon Sullivan, we thought that it would be them two competing or probably using both of them in some type of combination like we've seen before, Cam Sutton and Mike Hilton types. But, yeah, that was definitely a surprise for me, man. I also saw some other reports where, and we don't know how accurate this is or not, but they were saying where he was potentially going to be asked for a pay cut, and that was also part of it. Like I said, man, it's a lot.
There was definitely it had something to do with the contract.
Right. It was definitely, sure. I saw something like that as well. So, yeah. So, with that being the case, man, a couple of ways I do get it. When you're talking about from the player side, being asked for a pay cut, you're always going to, or a lot of times you're going to look at it like you're crazy, lost your mind. Like it took me forever to earn this money and now I got it. And now you want to holler about a pay cut for the team. But we know the team will release me if I don't play well. Like a lot of that goes into it. You also think about Maulet's story. Remember, he was about to retire before he came here because of how everything was going on around the league for him personally. Gets here, has success. We re-signed him and we know how everything was working out for him. So this could have been one of those things where he's just, like, man, I just don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with whatever you guys might be trying to concoct down the line. And what I mean by that is a scenario where, yeah, we want you and Shandon Sullivan to compete, but whoever loses the competition gets released. Well, when are we doing cuts this year? Cuts are when? Right at the end of that last preseason game. There's no more cut downs. There's no more you gradually working to it. So you essentially could get lost in the shuffle or screwed if it worked out like that. And not saying the team would decide to do that, because we know there's multiple corners and other players on this roster that are going to potentially get cut. But if you are Maulet and you just don't want to deal with that type of uncertainty, you want to go somewhere where you feel like you got a better chance or just a smoother line for you, then I could also understand him, asking for the release as well, because all of that is a part of it when you're a player and you having to understand the business side for yourself. Yeah, you can stick around for the team and it's cool. Oh, you're competing. Yeah, you're doing all this other stuff, like pat yourself on the back. But if they release you and, you get lost in the shuffle because 1,000 heads are getting released at the same time, and now you get, stuck with no job going in opening week as a vested veteran, that deals with your money. Now your contract is no longer guaranteed. Those are all the little like business detail things that kind of get lost in the shuffle with this type of stuff. So for him, if he's considering all of that, I could definitely understand why he would ask for that. And then if you're the team, I mean, it makes sense. I don't want you to be no hostage.
Right.
And if you're not a TJ Watt, a Minkah Fitzpatrick, one of the marquee guys at a marquee position, why do I necessarily have to bend over backwards for you if you asking for a release? Like, it's not like Devin White. Like, we see Devin White ask for a trade, and they're like, nah, we ain't doing that. Matters a lot more to that team, whereas for Maulet here, it's just not the same type of,
especially with how the Steelers handled the offseason and bringing in all these secondary pieces. Mm-hmm. I was surprised at first, but after realizing Maulet was the one that asked for the release, I'm less surprised, because he probably looks at the room and is like, man, I don't know if you guys value me or you guys view that there's still a spot for me here because of all these dudes you brought in. You bring in a Shandon Sullivan, who I think by all accounts, now whether you want to say he's better in coverage, or like each of them have their own little archetypes.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's the more experienced, the more
in terms of
cornerback, slot cornerback with the pedigree versus Arthur Maulet. You know what I mean?
Maulet's more the versatile. Shannon's more of the true cover slot corner. Yeah.
Plus, you have a Trey Norwood on the roster. You drafted 2 corners. I know they're not specifically slot corners, but you drafted 2 guys in the draft.
Yeah.
And I feel like probably now with Maulet being released, the Steelers, like even if we don't pick up a slot, we'll make it work. You've moved Monty Casey up maybe in some of those run situations. In pass situations, could you move a Patrick Peterson in there? He was talking about willing to be more versatile. Like, I think we'll be all right. I'm just more bummed because I would have liked to see Maulet in camp and compete with Shannon Sullivan and whatever other corners are out there, because you know he's going to bring it. Like, he ain't going to back down. Like, I feel like he was just solid for us. You know what I mean? Like, he was a net positive. Like, he wasn't a world burner or anything, but he was good against the run, did what we needed him to do, had some lapses in coverage at times, but also made some good plays.
He had, 2 picks?
He had that one in the Raiders game.
Yeah. So it's like he still even gets some turnovers on occasion, man. Now you're absolutely right, man, with everything you said right there. I would have wanted to see him compete with Chandon because I do think it's a scenario where it's Sutton and Hilton, that combo, and I'm all for that. Can we still be fine? Sure, no question. To me, slot just becomes like inside linebacker. Can you get away with it? Yes. Are you vulnerable? Yes. As long as you know that going in, we plan accordingly, and hopefully, everything works out with that. I don't think that, it's a deal breaker one way or the other. I just think it does put a little bit more attention on it if we're not going to address it personnel-wise. Schematically, we're going to have to be super buttoned up because once again, when we start naming Patrick Peterson, we start naming, other guys.
Hell, what about this name?
Yeah.
Trice for running situations. I know we talked about him a little bit more last podcast and how it might not be the best for passing downs, but he's got that big body type.
Yeah, like I said, Band-Aids, you can get away with it. In any of them corners that we named or that we think of the name of any of the safeties, yes, you could get away with it. All I'm saying is we will understand there is a difference, though, between a guy that is designed for that versus a guy that is doing it as a plus to his job. You know what I mean? Like Pat P, JPJ, Levi, Kello, any of the safeties. It's like their main job is outside corner or safety. Now, they can play slot, but that's not their main thing. So with that, it's just going to reflect. As long as the matchup good, we good. But if it's versus a guy that does that, versus a guy that moonlights at it, that's where I think we're going to fill that void a little bit, so to speak. Now, how often does that happen?
You think it's necessarily the matchup, or like
I think
how much those guys are comfortable in that spot, or how much they've been working behind the scenes?
So put it like this, right? Pat P can work behind the scenes as much as he wants. Pat P is not going to move in the slot like Arthur Maulet will move in the slot. Now, granted, Pat P is a better player as a whole, but specifically in the slot, we're talking about those matchups. You're not facing big body guys that are long speed. It's usually short, super agile, super quick. That's a different build than outside corners. That's why outside corners are typically bigger, longer, because they're built for that. And your slots are usually shorter, more compact, because they got to be able to do all that little short, quick stuff. So it doesn't matter if, this guy runs a 4.3 or 4.2. If he's going to get hit off the line on a release, and now, this guy's getting a little 5-yard catch, moving it up. It's like that type of stuff that you deal with in the slot. Like you said, it can still work, though. And in terms of teams that are going to really be able to hurt us like that, you're going to have a team that's deep. You're going to have a team that has, like Cincinnati, that has 3 legit guys. If it's a team that only got 1 guy or 2 guys, it's like, bro, we ain't tripping. We can match that up. But those aren't the teams that we're going to be worried about when we're talking about trying to win it all. The teams that we're going to be worried about have them type of pieces. So that's kind of why I think of it like that. Like, yeah, we're going to win games. Like, it's not we're going to lose not because we don't have Maulet. Nah, it's not the case. Same with the linebacker situation. Not having a third athletic linebacker, it doesn't kill you until you face a team that has the weapons, that has the pieces to do all of that. And now we're sitting here like, yeah, we can't stop that today. That's the part where I'm just thinking big picture, like, we going to have to figure out that part. because we know what some of these teams are in terms of at the top of the AFC or even in the NFC. It's like they're gonna find ways to stress you out like that. So yeah.
Yep, got you. Well, you'd like to think like if that's our worst issue, though, that's the thing that I gotta applaud the Steelers for.
Yeah,
this
we're in a
offseason.
great situation though. Absolutely.
We're talking about slot corner and inside linebackers potentially being a need, even though we did address them and have good guys in those spots. Yes. It's just we're trying to find a certain little sliver or little archetype to fill the void.
Because we're trying to win a championship. And when you talk about that, then it does become a lot more of the nitpick. It does become a lot more of every little thing mattering in order to get the big thing. If all you focus on is like the big pieces and not the little stuff, the nuance, that's how the teams get you, especially when you're talking about playoff teams, because they not only are talented, but schematically know how to attack you. Their players are designed to be able to take advantage of some of those mismatches. So that's the part we just got to be a little bit more cognizant. But on the flip side, what are we creating on offense? Our same level of mismatch. So instead of teams worrying about nickel, corner, and athletic linebacker, when they play us, they're going to have to worry about what? Physical linebacker. A safety that can walk into that box and play that run. Who can handle 2 tight end sets? Yeah. So that's what we're creating on our side of it. So everybody's doing it. But we just got to know going into it.
And then it just comes down to how you play the game, how you execute.
Yeah, absolutely. And
chess game from both teams.
That's the beauty of the NFL, man. But so like I said, we're still good. It's just the little things like that are what we're going to have to be a little bit more aware of.
Yeah, it didn't hurt us to keep him. I thought it would have been fine to keep Maulet and be in this slot corner competition because of how he would be good in run support for us. But now that's not even an option, and I don't even know who we're picking up.
Because my thing was this: even if we cut him, at least I would feel good because that means Trey Norwood beat him out. That means Shannon Sullivan beat him out. You see what I mean? But by him being released because
even if the Steelers cut him right now,
no. If they cut him right now, or if they had cut him in training camp, right? Yeah. It was like at
least our decision,
right? Our decision. We felt good about it. This doesn't scream we felt good about our situation and we just let him move. It was like, all right, you asking for it? All right, cool. It could have happened anyways, but we ain't go trip. Like, it's just a different feeling to me. That's all.
Because that's what I was wondering when we cut him, too. I was like, is another move potentially coming down the line?
If we would have done it, I think it was another move.
Like, is this opening things up for Reuben Foster, Quan Alexander? And I think that would be a fair trade-off.
I'm with you.
That would be an absolutely understandable trade-off.
Definitely with you, man.
Because we just brought in Shannon Sullivan. Okay, we miss maybe a little bit of the run support at slot corner. But if we get a Reuben Foster, Quan Alexander,
absolutely,
that'll be worth it.
We feel good. Heck yeah.
Who's next?
And then after that we had what were your thoughts though in terms of free agents? Because I know Sean McCartney did have that at the end of it.
I don't know. I don't think there's anyone I feel like that amazing about, to be honest. Yeah. In terms of specifically slot corner, Bradley Roby's being brought up. There's Troy Hill out there. Huh?
How's Bradley Roby's health been lately?
I don't know, dude. I mean, I think there's still a reason he's a free agent.
That's
like
what
this.
I'm saying.
I was looking at some of his numbers last year. weren't anything special. Yeah. Troy Hill, Kyle Fuller, he's coming off that ACL.
Dang. When did he tear his?
Early last year.
It was early?
Yeah. Bryce Callahan.
Callahan could be interesting.
Justin Lane.
Chill out, right?
There's no one that really sticks out to me, to be honest. PJ Williams, he's a slot, right?
Yeah.
Anyone in the chat? Maybe there's someone I'm
just trying to think of some of them names you were naming.
I'd almost just rather have Maulet.
I mean, obviously, he'd be the ideal one. Omar gonna surprise us, though. I got a feeling. Omar gonna surprise us.
You think we're gonna address slot corner?
I low-key do at some point. I just wonder, though, do we get a chance to see the group that we currently have now, right? Shannon Sullivan. I'm assuming this is going to mean Trey Norwood now is a slot.
Yeah.
I want to see like how they allow them dudes to play out. Does Trey Norwood actually get to compete for it? Or is it just it's going to be Shandon and now we just going to sign another depth dude type thing?
You think maybe in like training camp?
Yeah.
almost when did we sign Melvin Ingram? That was really random. That was like in June.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? It was leading up to training camp.
Because I think of more of like the Joe Schobert move, but less splashy. Like, remember how that was like in the middle of training, actually in the middle of a game, and we're watching, trying to see who's going to be the starter, who's going to pick it up. Yeah. I don't think it'll be as splashy, but I could see something like that if we don't feel like really confident about how the dudes are playing in this lot.
That's if we don't. Right. That's if we see some lapses in those games.
But I think they'll let him go. I think they'll let him try first, though.
I definitely think we could moonlight this.
Yeah.
Keanu Neal at safety. You bump up KZ.
We got multiple players
if you want KZ back at safety, throw Peterson over that. Can you do it just a 3 cornerback set? Maybe in more passing downs where it's Peterson. Can you throw JP in the slot? Or Levi Wallace, the other on the outside? Shannon Sullivan. We obviously know like that's his position.
Right.
So maybe he's doing that at least 50% of the time.
Yeah.
We can make it work right now.
Yeah.
We can make it work.
And at this point in time, you're not overly cautious about injuries either. We're not over here sitting here like, man, if this guy goes down, then what are we going to do? It's like, bro, it's slide. You know what I mean? Like, yes, it's like a starter. But I don't know. I just feel like you got a little bit of leeway with the slot corner versus like the outside guys, if that makes sense.